Hello, sweet polar bears. I wanted to check in with you for today. So I heard that there was some success yesterday, but I just want to check in and clarify some things. So for today, you're going to be going through this video with Mr. Robinson, and it's day 1 and day 2 recap of what you've been doing. So there's recap for day 1, and then we're going to start going forward with day 2 as well. So as a reminder, yesterday in class you worked with Mr. Robinson. I want to review with you remotely on letters A through G in your notebooks. Once A through G are complete in your notebooks, then send 1 to 2 students with your notebooks back to class so that I can look at them tonight, and then return back to Mr. Robinson, and you're going to continue for the next segment, which you can do without your notebooks. By the end of class, that means you are going to be turning in a combined group poster on input, output, and uses. Make sure your names are on that. In fact, bring that to me too with your notebook. You're going to redefine our driving question, and then you're going to be turning your notebooks in back in my classroom in F102. For the posters that you're going to be working on at the end of class, you won't be turning them in today, but I will be going through them. Okay, so turn to your notebooks. You should be on page 9 or on page 78, and you're going to be looking at letter A, thinking about what you have in there. So again, here we have our sweet female finch here. There she is from Daphne Major. To her right are the seeds that were so difficult to crack open, those tribulus seeds. If we look at your graph, Mr. Robinson, maybe you can pause this for a moment. Let's just redefine. What is this graph? What does the red mean? What does the blue mean? And what is a bill? It says bill depth, Mr. Robinson, or anyone. Maybe you can say, okay, what is that bill? So go ahead and redefine this graph and put me on pause. Okay, so hopefully you discovered that the graph, in red, it shows you all of the finches that died. In the blue, it shows you those that survived. A bill, what is that? That's another word for the beak of the finch. And basically we saw that the majority of finches died. Why did they die? Again, we're going to continue on and think about this question. Why did they die? We know a drought happened. Why did they die? Here we have the moose. And as I mentioned before, this moose is pregnant. They breed in the fall, and then they are pregnant through the winter. We also saw a big drop in moose populations. What can cause that? What happens to a moose if she's pregnant in the winter? Do you think she's going to need more energy to take care of that baby or less? If she doesn't have quite enough food, do you think the baby is going to survive? Well, if you think no, the baby won't survive if she doesn't have enough food, you're right. The first thing she will do is she will lose the baby if she's starting to struggle, and then eventually she herself could die if she doesn't have enough food. So, why did all those finches and moose die? Well, they died from starvation. They didn't have enough food. Why do organisms need food? So go ahead and look in letter box A and write down, why do organisms need food? Share out with Mr. Robinson what you wrote, and then we'll go on to the next one. So put me on pause and share with Mr. Robinson. Okay, so if you say organisms need food for energy and for other things, I say you are on the right track. So let's look at that idea. Now work in your groups and make a poster, or look at the posters that you made yesterday and think about, why do we eat? What kinds of things do you have on that poster? So go ahead and share out with each other the posters that you made and put me on pause. Okay, as you look at your posters, also think about other things, like if you have questions about some of these things. And in fact, if you do have questions, I would like to hear them. So maybe you can put me on pause one more time and write down a list of questions that you have. I would love to be able to answer some of them since I'm not in that room with you. So put me on pause one more time, write down some questions that you can be giving to me that I can send back for some answers. Okay, let's move on one more time. Ideas about food. Oh, this one should be updated, but share what you discussed about food with the other polar bears. So we just did that, hopefully, with Mr. Robinson. And now let's look at the big picture. So in the coming weeks, we're going to consider what organisms need to do in order to survive and reproduce. Remember, as we learned in natural selection, it's not that easy to survive and reproduce. We also want to remember that part of our year-long exploration of living things is to ask how they are the same and how they are different. This relates back to our unity and diversity. So let's broaden our conversation beyond simply food. So again, we started by talking about food, but is food the only thing organisms need to take in to survive? What else do organisms need besides food? So again, what is it organisms need to take in to survive? What else do they need? What do you need besides food? All right, you are going to be working in your group of 2 to create a list of what we take in and what we put out and what we use it for. And of course, you can add food in. So in the input section, one example you might put in there is food. You put food into your body. In the uses section, you might describe how is food used in your body. And in the output section, you're going to put in what comes out. Stuff comes out of your body. I know it and you know it. So what comes out of your body? Write down a few answers that you can think of for input, what comes into your body, for uses, how does your body use it, and output, what comes out of your body. You're going to put that in Doodle box B. Put that in Doodle box B. Go ahead and put me on pause. Okay, now that you have some ideas there, we're going to get a lot more ideas by sharing them together for everyone in class. So, I want you to go to Doodle box C, and in the middle of Doodle box C, I would like you to draw a stick figure. A person, a stick figure, and right above the stick figure's head, you're going to put the word uses. To the left of the stick figure, you're going to put the word inputs. On the right of the stick figure, you're going to put on the word outputs. Okay? And then Mr. Robinson is going to have a big piece of poster paper. Make sure your names are included on all of it. Or if you'd like, you can split up into 2 groups. I know third period is a bit big over there. So for third period, maybe you can split into 2 groups and give me 2 posters. Make sure your names are on all of it. Put all of your ideas together on inputs, what's put into your body, uses, how do you think your body uses those things, and outputs, what is put out, what goes out of your body. And then make sure your names are on each of the posters. And I would like to have those at the end of class 2 to look over. So again, inputs, uses, and outputs. Go ahead and put me on pause now and create your poster together. All right, hopefully you have this poster. Keep in mind that the poster that you just made is a work in progress. So you have a lot of information on there, but we're going to continue to add more over the next 2 weeks. So again, we've got your inputs, uses, and outputs, and now this is our reference. We're going to have our class representation here, which is the poster you just made. Everyone should have in their notebook, in Doodle box C, your poster represented in Doodle box C. So if you don't have everything down, then get it down right now. All right, so hopefully everyone has it down, and we're going to move forward. If not, put me on pause, but otherwise we're moving forward. All right, so now we're going to ask this question. Well, we have asked the question, why do organisms die without food? What else do organisms need to take in? And what is food for? So, let's look back at C. Notice how you have inputs, uses, and outputs. I want you to go to the uses column. What are the different uses you have? How does the body use these things? In DoodleBox-D, you're going to notice that it's got 3 columns. The 3 columns are do stuff, make stuff, and both. So, when you look at the uses list, so you're just looking at the uses list, are there any patterns to be found? I want you to look at that uses list and decide if each thing is about making something or is it about doing something. For example, under the uses list, let's say one of your examples might have been that your body grows, right? You have growth in your body. You can grow muscle, for example. So, is growing muscle making stuff, or is growing muscle doing stuff? What do you think? Would growing muscle be making stuff, or would growing muscle be doing stuff? Well, hopefully you think growing muscle is making stuff. You're making muscle. So you would write grow muscle under make stuff. How about, well, you know what? I'm going to share the answers, some answers with Mr. Robinson, and I'm sure you can come up with many. So you're just looking at that uses column. Look for any patterns that you can see, and you're going to decide, is it making something or is it doing something? Go ahead and put your stuff in, your columns in right now for DoodleBox-D, and put me on pause. All right, so what have we figured out so far? We kind of answered at a surface level our first question of why do organisms need food by saying we need inputs to make stuff and to do stuff. Now, I want you to record the model idea in Doodle E. So basically, in DoodleBox E, you're going to be saying, again, looking at our primary question, why do organisms need food? We need food to, or we need input to make stuff and do stuff. So we need food to make stuff and to do stuff. How could you rephrase that? We need input to make stuff and to do stuff. Is there another word you could use for stuff? We need inputs to make stuff and to do stuff. How else can you rephrase that? And if you look at your model, what is it really all about? Go ahead and put me on pause and discuss this as a class. My cat is crying because he wants attention. I know, I'm working too much. Okay, so of all the things we've recorded on our diagram are about matter or energy. Yes, Winston. Matter or energy. So, how could you rephrase that for Doodle E? Again, you're looking at the term by saying we need inputs to make stuff and to do stuff. We need input, or we need food to make stuff and do stuff. And this is all about matter or energy. What can you say? So, hopefully you've come up with the idea. We need matter and energy to survive. This is the main idea that you're going to be putting into DoodleBox E. So if you don't have it, or if you have something like it, go ahead and correct your work, and you're going to put this main idea, we need matter and energy to survive, in Doodle box E. We need matter and energy to survive in Doodle box E. Okay, we're getting really close. So, we need a new question here. So our original question is, why do organisms need food? Now, we have a little bit of an answer here. We know that we need food because we need matter and energy to survive. How can we change this into a better question? I'm going to give you a hint. Using the words how, using the first word how is a better way to answer a question. How is a great way to ask a question. So we need matter and energy to survive. Can you use that phrase and incorporate the word how into it? Go ahead and put me on pause while you figure it out. All right, hopefully you have worked together as a class and you've got your driving question. What did you put in? What did you put in? Put that question into Doodle box F. Put that into Doodle box F and check in with Mr. Robinson as needed. I'm sure he will guide you well. All right. So this is actually not investigating tomorrow, but we're continuing on today. One more piece. So as we move on to our next unit or next segment, what the heck are matter and energy anyway? Let's review. Okay, so what are matter and energy? So for this segment, for G, I want you to write your ideas in Doodle box G. So, what is matter? Just do your best. What do you think matter is? And for this segment, I don't want you to overthink it or get concerned about vocabulary. Just put in what you think and you can talk about it. What do you know about matter? Write in what you think. What are some examples of matter? Look around you. What do you see? And number 4, do you know of any rules about matter? And you might not, but you might, so let's see what you've got. And if you don't, it's okay, just put down what you think. Go ahead and pause me now, and everyone can write in their answers and share them. All right, now that you've gotten your answers on what is matter, let's look at what is energy. What is energy? So just do your best here, and let me know what you think it is. What do you know about energy? I've heard you talk about it. I have high energy, I have low energy. So what do you know about energy? Why is it needed? What are some examples of energy? How do you use energy? And number 4, do you know of any rules about energy? All right, so talk about what you think energy is and put me on pause and then we'll come back. All right, so which of our ideas about matter and energy seem important to record and remember as we continue to work through questions and food? To help you answer the above, in groups of 4 or 5 people, I want you to make 2 posters and title them. One of them is going to be called Ideas About Matter. The other one is called Ideas About Energy. I want you to spend some time on them, but not so much, and then you're going to add to them as we progress through this unit, and make sure your names are on them. So again, it's 2 posters in groups of 4 to 5 people each. Each group should have 1 poster about matter and 1 poster about energy. And now that you're at this point, this is the time where I would like you to take the notebooks back to my classroom so that I can grade letters A through G and look over your work. Also, bring me your poster that showed the class representation for the inputs, uses, and outputs, your big stick figure poster. I would like to see that as well, and make sure your names are on that too. So now is the time to bring me some of your work, and for just send 2 students to come quickly to my classroom and then go back. And in the meantime, you're going to start creating these posters, one about matter and the second one about energy. So just to recap, yesterday in class you worked with Mr. Robinson. This is my chance to review with you remotely on letters A through G. And then now that A through G are complete, someone should be bringing me your notebooks. And then you're going to be working on these posters for the rest of the time period. At the end of the time period, go ahead and turn in your notebook. Or sorry, you're already turning your notebook in. And then if you do finish your posters before the end of class, you can give me your posters on matter and energy as well. All right, keep going, and I hope it's going well over there.